This class, when you look at it, you're looking at quality over quantity is the way I like to talk about it. Quality over quantity. There was with the situation we are in with scholarships, we have a much smaller margin of error. So we have to do a tremendous job of evaluating these kids in a lot of different areas. And I believe our staff's done that in every instance on each one of these kids. This class is balanced. When I say balanced, I mean we've got 8 defensive players, we've got 9 offensive players, and we were able to fill needs within both of those units. We knew we had to hit the D line, so we got 5 guys that we feel like that can play some different positions in the defensive line. We really needed some speed and some explosiveness off the edge to help with a pass rush, and we felt like we met those things. Greg tore the ACL, going into his senior year, and so really missed his whole senior year. But you go back, so you got to basically base everything off of his sophomore and junior year. The guy is, 6'1"-ish, maybe a little bit taller, 305 pounds, and extremely strong and extremely explosive. And it was obviously with Sly leaving, it was a spot that we definitely needed to bring in a guy with some girth, that can play inside and can take up some gaps and get after some people. And we believe Greg's going to be the guy that's going to be able to do that. Now, Marquise Haynes, very explosive. I think if you look, I can't remember, I think in the last 2 years, I think Marquise had somewhere around 50-something sacks. I don't remember the exact numbers. You guys have to look it up on their, but a kid who came to camp and was just wowed us. We were like, wow, because he was so explosive, such a quick first step. Then you got to watch him on the basketball court, and he can dunk it any which way he wants. He was in a dunk contest, and just you could see the explosiveness and power in his hips. DeJuan Drennan, another guy, very, very athletic, and both of these kids could play end or the bandit position. So again, there's a guy that can really get off the edge and has some length to both of them. We think they're going to both give us immediate pass rush help. Mikey Bart's another kid down out of Georgia. Mikey, is another one that he's got a tremendous motor, plays really, really hard. The guy played in 4 years. He played in 4 state championships and won 3 of them. That should tell you something about it. First of all, you got, Brian Walker will be a corner for us, no doubt. I think Desmond Lawrence could be either. Donnie Lawrence will probably stay at a safety. Now that safety could mean he could be at the Ram, he could be at the at the Cat or the Free. So he could be at either of the 3. Desmond could play any of the 3 plus corner. Brian is going to be too valuable for us to line up at corner. So all 3 of them could be in the mix right off the bat. Mitch was getting a lot of pressure from, whether anybody else in the press knew about him, all the coaches knew about him. So, Mitch is a very, very impressive young man, because he can really throw it and he can run. He can do both. And he's just, when you talk about the it factor for a quarterback, he's got the it factor. You watch the way the players are drawn around him. You watch the way his school is drawn around him. I got to see it all. He's just a very impressive young man. And to be selected, Mr. Football in the state of Ohio, meaning he's the best player of any classification, it's pretty special. And, he did some tremendous things willing his team to win in those playoffs against some teams that everybody thought were much better. You have Chris Francis from Hillside coming in, and you got TJ Logan coming in, both those kids. Chris is Chris is about a 5'9", 195-pounder that can run through you, also make you miss. TJ Logan, you guys, we considered him to be the best player in the state of North Carolina, overall. And so you look at him, the guy played in 15 games this year, and he only played in the fourth quarter in 2 of those 15. And he still, he had 47 touchdowns. I don't know how many yards he rushed for, over 3,000 yards. It's like when I talked to Johnny Roscoe as head coach, Johnny said, Coach, if I would have played him in every game, the entire game, he could have rushed for 10,000 yards. He really believed that in this season. And he probably could have. And so, we're just really excited about him. One thing about that kid, I'm going to tell you, from the day he committed, he was solid as a rock. Even though every school in the country was in there trying to, try to jump all over him, he never blinked. And so, there's a lot to be said about him. Well, Logan Francis is thicker. He can run through you. but he can also make you miss, and he can go the distance. You know, Logan is probably, I mean, I think in the top end speed, he's going to be faster. He's going to be a little bit more shiftier, but he can still run between the tackles. You know, and so the size of the kid doesn't matter to me when we're talking about whether we run him inside and outside. I mean, that's between his ears. You know, he either believes he can or he believes he can't. You know, and TJ believes he can. Chris believes he can run it inside or outside. So, again, that's going to be what they bring to the table is really going to be good for us because both of them can catch the football. You know, both of them are very athletic. You know, so it's going to be, again, that's going to be very fun. You know, Chris, right now, talking to our strength coach today, you know, Lou, just talking about Chris, he said, hey, Coach, Chris is a workout beast right now. I mean, he's already doing things that the older guys are doing. He's already even with them. So that's pretty special because he should be in high school right now. You know, he should be worried about what color his tux is going to be for the prom. Well, I think, you know, I don't anticipate going through the season with just Blue and Romar. You know, so I think we'll probably have, I mean, because I can't remember the last time I had a season where I made it through with just 2 running backs. So I anticipate those running backs playing. I think Fialto, you know, in the last 2 years, I think he set some type of record or something for touchdowns, I think. You know, I mean, I can't remember what it was some odd godly number. You know, and then you got Bug. You know, Bug's 6 foot. I mean, I'll tell you what, Quinshad was Bug's host. You know, when they're standing there next to each other, Quinshad looked short compared to Bug. You know, Bug was every bit of 6'5", I'm going to say 6'6", you know, and I mean, he very, very athletic, great body control, both these guys with the ball in the air, great concentration, really good hands receivers, you know, so it's going to be fun to get those guys out on the field and have some really good competition out there. Well, you bring in R.J. Prince, who's in the program right now. R.J. is, you know, he's 6'6". He's a 305-pounder, very athletic. And when I say athletic for an offensive lineman, you know, you probably go, what does that mean? You know, I mean, well, he can do the splits any way you want him. He's very flexible, you know, and you don't see that very often in guys of that size. So, you know, he's coming from a very small school, so everything is brand new to him. But he's really, each and every day, you see him get a little bit better. He's got a long way to go, but a little bit better. You know, you never want those guys to have to come in and play for you right away anyway. You got Brad Henson, the kid out of New Jersey. Brad's, you know, a 6'4", 295-pounder, who what we liked about Brad, he's got great arm length, so he can still play on the edge at tackle. He played guard. He's also played center. So there's that versatility that we talked about. When you have a guy like that can play any of the 3 positions, he obviously becomes more valuable to you. And then we had to have Lucas Crowley. We had to have a guy that is taking snaps at center because behind Bodine, you know, once Jennis left, that was our next center. So, you know, we had to have a guy. So Lucas has got to come in, and he's got to learn it quick because he could be in the 2 deep from the day he steps on campus. The last thing I'm going to tell you about this group is I think this group is going to be the basis for multiple championships here at University of North Carolina.